Okay, we're going to continue to work on catch game. And again, if you go to class recordings, you'll be able to find the project file that I use it. Oh, actually, this is not the class. Okay, class recordings and file created or use it in class demo. So this one right over here is the one that I created like 2 days ago. So if you, you can use your own files, but if you don't have it, you can use this one. Okay. So this is what I have. If I play this, it will instantiate falling object. And if you remember, if you look at the score, when I catch the white one is +1. If I catch red one, that's like -1. Okay. I'm going to change my camera size a little bit. Okay, so let's take a look at how we can possibly finish this game. Okay? And if you take a look at HUD, we do have this game manager. Okay? Game manager is where we put our scoring system, okay? Mainly control what we do with this game. Okay? So if you remember, we have score, okay? And then my skin and all these things. Okay. The ball, we actually don't use it. So now you realize if you want to clean up your code, you can actually erase this if you like to. Okay. So that's like something you can do later. But sometimes you're not sure what's going to happen. Okay. So sometimes at the development stage, you probably just want to comment this out, okay? But eventually, after you finish the game, you can get rid of it. Or, quite honestly, you can just leave it as is. But sometimes, if you like to have a cleaner code, you can definitely go back and erase unused code later on. Okay, now let's try to think about how to make this game a little better. Okay. So we do have scoring system. Okay. And what other things we can implement to make this game better? Anybody? Let's try to think about. Background music. Any sound. And what else? Yes. Power-ups, okay. And what else? So again, one thing I really want you to think about is, okay, I do have all these video tutorials. Okay, so you can actually watch this to get to know basic stuff. Okay, so if you remember what I said in the beginning of this semester, okay, we do not have textbook, but these, our Blackboard would be kind of our reference book or textbook, and I expect you to spend at least 7 hours, okay, for studying materials for this class outside of the classroom. So you can watch this video and kind of get to know how to reproduce this game. And now, this time, I kind of want to use this kind of live demo types of, I want to do live demonstration to kind of improvise things we can do to make this game better. Okay. So first thing I would do, okay, I want to have like a little timer. Okay. Let's say there's score system. Okay. Let's say like there's a timer for 20 seconds. And then after 20 seconds over, the game will be over. Okay. You don't have to stick with it, but let's try to think about it because we actually looked at the timer last Tuesday. Now you can think about, oh, yeah, we can actually do a timer. Okay. So now, I'm going to go to Game Manager. Okay. Try to think about how we can implement timer. Okay. Now, I'll probably do something like this. We have score here, and I want to have timer. Okay. And then obviously, that means we need to have one more variable. We didn't talk about variable before. I mean, we kind of talked about it, but not extensively. So I guess this is good time for us to talk about variable. Okay, anyone, what's variable? What is it? I think we actually have like a pretty few good programmers in this class. I looked at your assignments, and then I realized there are a few people who actually did some programming before and then tried new stuff. So any programmer's friend here, what is variable? What is it? Yes?
Any stored information.
Any, what is it?
You store information.
Store information, yes. Anyone else? Again, I'm not looking for this like definition, but try to share what you know. Because sometimes, again, like it's not like we are going to have a quiz or test to ask you, oh, what is variable? Write down the definition of variable in computer programming. I'm not going to do that. But I want you to know, I want you to have this sense of like a variable, like what it is, and then when you need to use it. Yes?
Just sort of like whenever something needs to exist in like a bunch of different states.
Okay.
And the variable can switch between those states without having to like
Okay.
put in a complicated system of which you want at which time.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. So now you can actually Google variable. Then you'll get pretty good definition what it is. But in short, in programming, okay, variable is like some data. Okay? Data, or how to say dynamic data, meaning it can be changed throughout the program. So here, if you look at the score, it is variable because score will be changed, and it is a data. Okay? So to use this variable, okay, there are certain rules in programming. Okay? One rule you have to follow is to use these types of data. Okay? Or sometimes I say variable is container for dynamic data. Okay? So to use variable in programming, you have to have declare, meaning you have to tell like your compiler, like, or you have to tell Unity, okay, that you are going to use this thing as a variable. So to declare variable, you have to have types of data type, and arbitrary name that you are going to use for that, and initial value. Sometimes initial value can be omitted. So what I mean by that is, okay, I'm going to comment this out, like public static int score, okay, for now. And now, basically, Unity is complaining. Oh, you are actually like telling me to display this score variable, but I do not know what it is because you didn't declare. So simplest form to declare your variable is data type. So data type can be int, which is short for integer, okay? And name of the variable, which is score. And then this semicolon means end of the line. Okay? So this is one way to use a score variable. But here, the problem now is, if you play this, okay, save, actually, if you play this now, okay, this one will give you something. Oops. Okay. And then actually, because we're using this with other things, we have to put public static. I'm going to explain that in a moment. Okay. And save and play. Now you have this score. Okay. 0. Okay. So now what we realized, okay, I said to use this variable usually in terms of syntax, okay, how to use this code, you need data type, okay, data name, okay, or variable name, and initial value. Okay. So that is why previously I put score equal to 0. Okay. Then this will display 0. But what really happened was, I didn't put this one. Okay. It still displays 0. Okay. So it sometimes works. Okay. Sometimes it doesn't. Okay. Mainly, I'm not going to talk about this today. Maybe not in this class actually. Like sometimes this is involved with a little bit of hardware. Like if you want to declare this variable. Okay. Basically, what's going to happen is you are communicating with your CPU, okay, to get the address for the memory. So you are basically telling program, like this compiler, okay, I need to use this variable. Please assign me the address of the memory. Okay. And then sometimes, okay, again, like if you have like 10, okay, what's going to happen is you basically write this 10 into that memory. Okay. So you are going to get that 10 right over here. Okay. And sometimes, okay, now I'll just get rid of it and play. And you might get some different numbers depending on which memory address you are going to use. Okay? So bottom line is, if you want to use this variable, okay, you have to have data type and arbitrary name of your variable and initial value. And this thing, public static, we're going to talk more about this later. Okay? Basically, public means, okay, now, okay, this int score would be now is a variable. Okay? And there are two types of variable, public variable and local variable. Okay? So if you leave it as is, okay, this one exists, or this Unity understands, oh, there is this variable named score in this game manager script. Okay? It's only recognized by or within these curly braces. Okay? But if you put public, okay, it will be recognized outside of this script. Okay? So this score, we must have an access to this score from this destroy on contact. That is why this guy must be public. And one more thing, static. Static variable is really tricky concept. Okay? But basically how you can understand this is, okay, now we have this score variable. It's updated within game manager. And it also can be updated in destroy on context script. Okay? So if this is not static, basically static means it will allow this variable to stay, to exist in the course of this program or application from the beginning of the end. Okay? If you don't do this static now, okay, it will complain. Okay, I'm going to save it. Okay. And then now try to play this. And then you will get this error. Okay, an object reference is required for the non-static field, method, or property GameManager.score. Basically what it means, okay, again, if you just keep doing more programming, this is something you will understand better. But for now, try to understand it this way. Static variable is variable that can exist from the start of your program until the end. Okay? If you don't make it a static, it's complaining because there might be a case this static variable would be removed from this game. So, for instance, we have these types of the prefabs, okay, which is also game object. Okay, imagine that if you have some sort of variable attached to this prefab, what's going to happen is it will introduce to the game by using instantiate, and then it can be destroyed. That means that variable will be destroyed as well. And then the problem now is if you have these types of script that can try to access to the variable, okay, which got removed, then basically it will say, oh, you are telling me update this score, but I don't see it in the system. Okay? So you will get an error. But once you declare this as static, from the moment it's declared, this game will remember what score is until the end of this or until the termination of this application. Okay? So if you want to have some scoring system, okay, you will see, oh, I have to use static variable. Okay? So for now, at 200 level, I try to understand it as, oh, if I have to constantly update this variable and allowing access from different script, okay, you want to make it as static. Okay? And we're going to have this issue again in other games as well. So we're going to talk about this again. So even though you don't fully understand what it is, that's fine. That's fine. A lot of people actually get confused about this concept of static variable, but that's fine. Okay? But good thing is, okay, if you don't declare this as static, okay, and you try to play this, and we do have so good compiler and editor, so it will tell you, okay, it will tell you what went wrong. And then especially when you see this, the non-static field, method, or property, okay, and you can simply declare your variable with that static. Okay. So another thing I have to tell you is, okay, I mentioned this before. Okay, even though someone's really experienced programmer or game designer, developer, they still make mistakes, or they still stuck on certain things. But usually what they are better at is debugging. Okay? And then again, you guys are lucky now because your compiler will tell you, okay, how to debug your stuff. So time to time, I recommend my students, okay, oh, look at the error number, okay, or error type. It will actually give you error CS0120. You do not have to memorize that number, but you can actually Google it. You can Google that error type. Okay? Then you will actually you'll be able to find, okay, what other problems people have, or what types of problem people have, and how to fix it. Okay? Or, okay, another thing is, okay, at this point, I recommend, or I just say and I go, yeah, if you actually don't be afraid of making any mistakes, and then try to make more mistakes. Try to get to know how to fix it. Because this types of debugging issue will come up over and over again. Okay? And I'm telling you, I was very lucky to start programming when I was like 8. So this sounds like I don't want to brag, but when I was little, probably I was the only kid who actually got an access to computer. So I was considered like a programming genius, only with the basic actually. But it's like kind of a stupid story. But what I'm saying is, so I've been probably programming like more than 30 plus years, but I still make stupid mistakes. I probably better than you a little bit, but what I'm really good at is, because I made so many like mistakes before, I can easily identify what types of error that is, and then I can fix it like quicker. Okay? So, and then another thing actually is when I was younger, when I was little, and when I learned programming in college and stuff, we were actually forced to memorize the code because we didn't have good compiler. We actually have to memorize code and then type it. But now you really don't have to memorize all this. And then if you use your compiler correctly, it's so easy for you to code and then debug. Okay? So try to get to know how to use this compiler better. Okay? That would be my recommendation. And another thing again, error type. Usually, again, if you did the 2D Pong, like there was one error that like a lot of people struggle with. Like there was issue with the tag. Oh, you're programming trying to access to this game object with a tag, but you don't have that game object. Then you can easily look at it. Oh, I have to go to one of my game object and then actually have to tag it. So try to, if you make mistake, that's fine, but try to get to know what types of mistake you made, and then try to get to know how to fix it. All right. Anyways, and then I'll try to explain this variable again later. Okay. But yeah, that's the kind of basic concept. And now, if you are curious, you can Google variable in C#, and then you'll be able to find many useful information. All right, so now we want to do this timer. Okay, so now we have this timer. Okay, so I'm going to use timer time left. Okay, and now it's complaining. Oh, you are telling me to use this variable named time left, but I do not know what it is. Meaning I have to declare this. So I'm going to declare on the top of the program usually. So I'm going to do this int time left. Maybe I'll do like a 60 as initial. Okay. Time left 60, and now it doesn't complain. Okay. And now time left we have, right? So what I'm going to do, I have this update function. And I know that this update function will get updated every single second. So what I can do here is, I can do time left minus minus semicolon. It means subtract 1 from itself. So now what's going to happen is, at the beginning of the program, my time left will be 60. Okay? And then every single frame is subtract 1 from 60. So 59, 58, 57. Okay? It's going to be really fast, really quick, but let's see actually. Okay? And save. And play. Okay, I have some issues. Oh, okay. I forgot to put static back. Okay, and now I'll save all, and play. So another issue. Let's see what issues I have. Okay, save all. I think I did, but maybe I didn't. So now you have score, and then you see actually time left went down like crazy. Okay. So now I realize I have to put this one. Okay, this is x, y coordinate. So I'm going to move it to somewhere here. Okay, so x should be, instead of 40, maybe 640, and see what's going to happen. Okay. Save, and then I'm expecting my time left to appear somewhere here. So timer, and you see it will do this. So now, another thing you can do, okay, this is timer. Maybe I realize if we want to do every single frame, maybe I'll do like 600 or something, okay? Or even like 6,000. And then, if we have timer, okay, we want to have like make a game over whenever it reaches 0. Okay. Then what can we do? Okay. There are many different ways to do this. Okay. And one way to do this, okay, maybe this is a very popular way to do this, or common way to do this. Okay. What we can do is, okay, we are going to use, okay, we can have make different state. Okay, game on and game over. Okay, game on and game over. Okay. So this two states, what I'm going to do, okay, I'm going to create another variable, but this time, okay, I'm not going to use integer. Okay, I'm going to use bool, which is short for Boolean. Okay. Boolean is a variable that can contain only two types of data, true or false. Okay. So now a little more about variable. Okay. I said variable is some sort of container that can contain, or that can have dynamic data. Okay. And then this dynamic data or variable, okay, is highly specific. Okay. If you put int, you can only use integers. If you put float, you can only use float number with a decimal point. If you put bool, you can have either true or false, and that's it. Okay. It's like I sometimes use like an analogy of cup. If you have like a coffee cup, you can only drink it with coffee. Okay. And then if you have beer, like a keg, you can only put beer in it. Okay. Whiskey shot, same thing. You can only drink a whiskey with it. Okay. And it's not good like mix things. All right. So now we're going to have Boolean. Okay. Game on. Okay. At the beginning, I'm going to make it as false. Okay. So now, here's one thing we can do. So this is kind of a common way that people use. Okay. So what I'm going to do, I have this pedal, right? So I'm going to open this pedal movement. Okay. So here, if you remember, this is the part inside of update. This is part where we move this pedal around. Okay. So this is what I'm going to do now. I'm going to do if, okay, game on is two equal sign, because we want to compare something. Okay. True. Okay. we are going to allow player to move this pedal. If game on is false, we cannot move this thing. Does that make sense? There's two states, okay? Either true or false. Okay? So at the beginning, Boolean game on is false. Okay? So meaning it's not going to work. You cannot move your pedals. Okay? But once you turn that game on as on, you'll be able to move this thing around. Okay? And now, you see this red underline, meaning there's something wrong. Okay? So actually here, I'm going to save it, okay? And then try to run it. Error. Okay? Now I have assets, paddle movement, error CS0103. The name game on does not exist in the current context. Meaning, oh, I do not know what game on is. Okay? Actually, game on variable was declared inside of game manager. So we have to tell Unity, and then tell Unity about this, the file path. Okay? Actually, game on is located inside of game manager. Okay? Now, okay, it's a little better. Okay? At least game manager is recognized. Game on still no good. Okay? I'm going to save it. And you probably now can actually, some of you guys already know, oh, I actually saw that before. I know how to fix it. And then I'm going to play this. And now it said, game manager does not contain a definition for game on. Can anyone tell me why? Yes? Yes. So this is an issue with public or local variable. Because I didn't say this game on is public. Meaning it's a local variable. It only exists inside of game manager. Outside of game manager, like Unity cannot or does not know what game on is. But once you make it as public, okay, now I'll save this. And then I'll go back to pedal movement. Now, this one actually has more red underline. Okay? And now you can actually play this one more time. You now have different error. It said an object reference is required for the non-static. Oh, yes, I saw that guy before. It usually goes away once I make my the variable as static. So now, oh, okay. So now, I'm going to play it. Basically, it doesn't complain. But now I cannot move my pedals. Okay? So now what I can do, okay, this is a common way that people use. Okay? In on GUI, okay, I can actually have GUI button. Okay? So if, okay, GUI button, okay, new rect, we want to put like 4 coordinate. I'm going to make that up as, let's see, I want to put it on the center. So maybe 300, 150, and then now size of my button, width and height, 80 and 40. Okay, and then I'm going to say this is start button. Okay. Then if this start button is clicked, what I'm going to do, I'm going to put game on equal true. Does that make sense? No? Okay, this is a button. This is a button, right? and game on is false at the beginning, okay, we want to display a button to change game on states to true. Okay? So let's see what this really does. Okay. Save. Okay. Play. Okay. We have start button here. Now I cannot move my pedals because pedal movement has that if statement. If game on is true, it will actually move. So now I'm going to click this one, and now I can move my pedal. And now I realize once I click this guy, probably I don't need this one. Okay? So simple way to manipulate this is now here I'm going to say if, okay, game on 2 equal sign false. If game on is false, we are going to display this button. And then once you click this button, game on becomes true, meaning this condition is not satisfied anymore, so it's not going to display this button. Okay? So now, file, save, play. Start. Now you can move your pedal and that start button is gone. Okay. And now we can implement this to many other things. For instance, okay, timer. Okay. It will only go if game on equals true. Now, I'll save this. At the beginning, timer would start like 6,000. Once I do start, timer will start go. Okay. In the same way, I can do this for the this one, make them fall script. This one, same thing. Okay. Here, if game on 2 equal sign true, or usually if it's a boolean, you can omit 2 equal sign and true. You can put it this way, meaning if game on is true, it will be satisfied. If not, it's not going to satisfy it. Okay. So now I'm going to do this. Okay. And then game on complaining, okay, because it's located inside of game manager script. Okay. So try to understand the concept. Okay. Probably what's happening now, you probably try to follow me. You make one simple mistake and it's not going to work. I know that. But again, I'm recording this, so you can always come back and watch it and do it kind of slowly. Another thing I have to tell you is now it's more complicated because I keep a copy or cut and paste it. When you do this, you have to make sure the location of these curly braces. Okay? So common mistake when you cut and pasting, you forgot one of these curly braces, then it will actually completely change your code. And then what usually happens is you kind of cut and paste, somehow it doesn't work, you really cannot go back. Then you send me your file and then, oh, I did what you did, what you exactly did, but somehow mine doesn't work. But again, I understand because that's really, really common mistake. Because sometimes when you cut and paste, again, you forgot one curly braces, and I'm warning you, you will get an error. It's really, really hard to fix because sometimes you don't know which curly braces you erase it or misplaced. Okay? But then again, it's totally fine making that type of mistake because, okay, if you fix that types of problem like 100 times, okay, you'll be a master of locating curly braces. So at least now, I mean, it's okay for you to make those mistakes, and then that will be your practice. Okay. So now, I'll save this and play. Okay, something went wrong. Oh, never mind. Maybe I just clicked it twice. Okay, now nothing falls down. Okay, but once I click start, okay, I can move these things around, and then this began to, the object begins falling down. Okay. And then because we now have this game on, okay, you can say in Game Manager, okay, if score is less than 0, okay, you can say game on will become false. Okay. And another thing you can do, if timer, time left actually, time left becomes less than 0, game on false, and then it will end the game. Okay. So it's all about this logic now. Okay. And save. Let's try to see what really happens now. Okay. Score 0, timer, like timer 6000, start. So now, okay, this is what happens. Okay. Now score is -2, so game is over. Okay. And start. Oops. So now I realize, okay, oh, okay, I can do this. Where's the red thing? Oh. Anyways, so here now, there's like few issues. Okay, few issues that once it goes to like score is becomes negative. Oh, okay, negative. It stopped. Okay, and then you try to start it again. It doesn't work because your score is -1. So it already got caught, and then you really cannot change the game on anymore. So whenever you want to start this game, okay, you want to do score, like reset. Okay, score is 0, and time left will be 6000. Another thing is, this might not be something you need to do, but one thing you can do is, because one thing I realized, so now actually like we're kind of trying to optimize this game. And one thing I saw was, start the game. Well, now it doesn't happen that way. But what happened before was I was holding down my keyboard like arrow keys, and then it just kept moving. So I'm actually like let me actually show you. So now I'm not touching it, but it actually went away. Okay. So to fix that, one thing I can do is, if there's if statement here, else if, okay, or technically I can just make it as else, meaning if this is not true, okay, I'm going to actually stop it. Stop it right over there. Okay. So this one maybe isn't that critical for you to, like, for anyone to play this game, but this is a little error. So in game development process, okay, if you want to release this game, you might have a QA, and QA play your game, and then, oh, actually it's supposed to stop, but it doesn't stop. Okay? You would get that report, and then you go back, and then, oh, how can I avoid that situation? Then you would do that. Okay? Or in Game Manager, you can do something like this. Instead of the ball, you can make like the pedal. And then here, whenever it becomes false, you can have like the pedal game, the pedal dot velocity equals 0 or something. So there are many different ways to do this, but we want to kind of take care of it. So now, okay, my mistake, like the most mistake that I make actually is I keep forgetting whether I saved it or not. Okay? So sometimes like I make kind of stupid mistake too. And now, whenever this game's over, oops. So now actually I stop it because it stopped because I have this pedal movement. If that game on is false, the velocity will be 0 no matter what. Okay. And now we have that. Let's try to think about level. Okay. This one I briefly mentioned this last Tuesday. Okay. So we do have this make them fall. Okay. So here, if score, so this one you can actually do the calculation. Okay. So score is greater than 0. You basically change this percentage. So along with this, you can do like a different numbers, or you can have some prefabs for the background. Okay, so here you can have like a prefab of transform background 1, 2, 3. Okay, and then here you instantiate the background 1. Then here, instantiate background 2. And for the level 3, you can instantiate background number 3. Okay, something like that. Okay. And another thing is somebody mentioned power up. Okay, we can make it happen. Okay, so here, what I'm going to do in HUD, we do have falling object 1 and 2. Okay. We can have like item. Power up like item. Okay. And then let's try to see so here, this is something I usually talk about in Flappy Bird, but if you want to import an image, especially this types of item, okay, you want to import something in either GIF or PNG with a transparent background. Okay? So this one, again, if you want to import some image with transparent background, okay, you can knock it off using Photoshop. But usually, the format you have to find is either PNG or GIF. Then if you want to find that image online, use the tool, Google Image Tool, and color as transparent. Okay. Then all of these images actually will come in as transparent background. If you see this check pattern, it means there is no pixel information. Okay. Pixel stands for picture element. That is usually 1 pixel is that little square, which it contains numeric value of either RGB color value, or it could be lab color value. Okay. So now this one actually has transparent background. So I'm going to do this, and then do this. So now, as you can see, okay, this one has transparent background. So what I mean by that is sometimes, okay, what we don't know is I'm going to just put any color. Okay. Oh, I like this one. Okay. I'm going to. This is really big actually, but. Okay. I'm going to do this, and quite honestly, this one and this one, they look the same, right? But here I do this, and then do this. This one actually has that white background. Okay. So if you want to find something online for this little item, okay, you have to find it for transparent, okay, background, and usually JPEG image, JPG, or JPEG, they cannot have transparent background. Okay? So it must be either PNG or GIF. Okay? So now, I don't need this guy. But this portion right over here. So what I'm going to do, okay, this one, I want to make it as a prefab, but just same as this folding object. Okay, rigid body 2D, circle collider, and destroy on contact. So I can actually make it exactly the same thing. Okay. Physics 2D, rigid body 2D, okay. And then okay, one that's fine, and collider. Okay. Even for the collider now, okay, there are different types of collider you can play with. You can still use a circle collider or polygon collider. Okay. Polygon collider automatically generate this outline for your image, so you will get slightly better contact area. Okay. And now, okay, I'm going to add destroy on contact script. So script destroy on contact. Okay. So now, what it basically does, okay, oops, this is what happens, and then I have to start. So now this is what happens. Okay, somehow actually destroy on contact didn't work. Oh, because I forgot to select is trigger. Okay. Okay. See, I mean, like I make mistake too. Okay. But hopefully I remember what I did. So now it should have worked now. Okay. And but now, one thing I'm going to do. Okay. So now I realize this is power up, right? So one thing I can do is, okay, for especially this guy, okay, I realize, oh, if I collide into the player, I want to make this guy bigger. Okay. So there's many different ways to do this. Okay. So I'm not going to actually use destroy on contact now. Okay. I'm going to actually remove this. Okay. Instead, okay, I'm going to create a new script. Okay. And power up on contact. Okay. And create an add. This is power up, but this one should be similar to destroy on contact. Okay, so I have destroy on contact here. So I'm going to copy this and paste it here. Okay. And if this guy collide into player, okay, I don't need to change the score. Okay, but what I'm going to do, okay, I'm going to do something like this: game manager. Power up true. Okay. So I don't have power up yet, but now I hope you realize, oh, why I got this red line, and then how to kind of make this happen. Okay. Because this is power up, okay, true, meaning this should be Boolean and public and static, because we're trying to like go from the outside of that game manager. Okay. So now, game manager, I'm going to do public static Boolean, power up at the beginning, false. Okay. And now, we are making this power up as true once this player collide into this portion. Okay. And what we can do many things. Okay. Here on the update. Or, I mean, there's many things you can do. I mean, like here, this is a kind of power of OOP, object-oriented programming. You can actually have smaller pieces of script. Okay. So there's many different ways to do it. Okay, one way to do it is something like this. Okay. Again, it's not like there's only one way to do this. So you can think about other ways to do the same thing. So maybe I'll try to go over two different ways to do this. Okay. One, I'll do something like this. I'm going to have transform, transform my player. And then at the beginning, I'm going to define it. Okay. My player is game object. Find game object with tag player. Okay. Now, whenever we say my player, okay, it will recognize this pedal left because we tag this thing as player. Okay. And now, what I can do is, here in the update, okay, if power up equal to true. Okay. Again, now you realize, oh, if this is a condition for if statement, okay, it's true, you can actually omit this one. Okay. So meaning, if power up is true, we're going to say my ball, okay, and transform scale. So here, we haven't talked about transform scale yet. Okay, so we can actually take a look at it. Unity, okay, transform scale. Oops. You'll get transform local scale unity. Okay. This is basically what you can use. Okay. So again, I mean, how fortunate we are now. Okay. We don't have to memorize this thing. Okay. You can simply Google it and you get the reference. But the idea is now, okay, whenever power up is true, I want to change this, not my ball actually, my player. My player game object, a little bigger or longer so that it can easily catch a thing. But then again, I realized it has actually red object, so it's not true meaning of power up. But let's try to kind of like go with it. Okay. So now transform that local scale, okay, and new vector 3 x y z. Or okay, now you realize, okay, oh, actually we are having this my player game object. Okay. So here, now my player actually is, okay, this game object dot transform. So here you can see actually this. It's a transform. Okay. So this one might be kind of odd concept, but if you took 140, you probably will. I mean, if you took it, it would be kind of this is something you already did. Okay. So basically, my player is this game object dot transform. Okay. Then this one here, example, doesn't have like a object name because it will try to manipulate its local scale, okay, of the game object that this script is attached to. Okay. I know it's kind of confusing, but actually I'm going to show you another way. Then I'm going to just use this one. So bear with me. Okay. So now, what I'm going to do, my player, I'm going to say local scale. Okay. Local scale. Okay. And here, I'm going to just do this, I guess, and see what's going to happen. Okay. Plus equal new vector 3. Okay. Maybe I'm going to say 0.1f, 0.1f, 0.1f. Okay. And can anybody guess what's going to happen? If I put this way, plus equal new vector 3. Okay. Plus equal means it will add this value to existing value. Okay. So what's going to happen is, if you save it, if I save it, play. Oops. Oh. Okay. Play. Up. All right. Okay. Let me really. Oh, actually, I'm stupid. Like, I can simply move my portion. Yeah. Instead of just trying to move my player, I can move my portion. Yeah. Okay. So now, and if I do start, oh, didn't work. Okay, portion is trigger. Game manager power up becomes true. Okay, and power up, same thing. Okay. Is trigger, yes. That's strange. Okay. Portion polygon collider is trigger selected. Rigid body. Okay. Power up contact. What did I do wrong? Anybody? Power up contact. Power up. Yours working?
Yeah, I just got.
Oh, I didn't save it. Oh. I didn't save it. That's why. Okay, save all. Now. So now basically this guy becomes like a bigger. Okay. So here, now we have to think about two things. One, okay, this is no good. This is no good. So we actually have to do this. Just equal, not plus equal, equal, and pedal left. We're using scale 0.3, 1.5, 1. Well, actually, yes, 0.3, 1.5, 1. That's the number we're using now. If we want to make it bigger, okay, we basically need to use slightly bigger number than this one. Okay, so maybe 0.5 and 1.75 and 1.25. And now, save all and play. So now it got a little bit bigger. Okay. Did you see that? Or if you want, well, I'm not going to do it now, but you can actually elongate just the pedal part. But anyways, that would be x, so I'm going to put like x as 1.5. Oh, x is that one. Because this one now is tricky because I actually rotate it. Like, do you remember that I rotate this thing using this one? So that's why actually you have to think about different value because I rotated my player. And anyways, you got the concept. Okay. Now what I'm going to do, I want to actually have that cool time. Maybe after like 30 seconds, I want this guy go back to the original state. Okay. So I'm going to use same concept. Okay. So here, what I'm going to do, okay, I can have something like integer, okay, cool time. Okay. Maybe I'm going to have like a 50 or just 100 for now. Okay, 100. Okay. And if power up is true, I'm going to do this. And then I'm going to do cool time negative. Okay. And then if cool time becomes 0, okay, I'm going to make this guy as its original state. Okay. So I have to actually kind of think about this because I changed this to rotate it to 90 degree. So I probably have to change it. But anyways, I'm just going to do maybe, I'm not sure whether it's right or not, but I'll try. 1 and 0.3 and 1.5. Maybe it's not true, but I want to do something like that. Okay. And then whenever cool time is 0, okay, I'm going to say power up will be false. So here sometimes in programming, we are saying this is toggle switch. It's either on or off. Okay. You make it either on and off. So whenever it's off, you basically reset it. And save it. And play. Get bigger. And now, I mean, like it got changed. So maybe my number is off, but it will go back to its state. Okay. So now, you can think about 2 ways of end this game. Once your score becomes less than 0. So this is the same as kind of, it could be something similar to like Tetris. Okay. There's no really ending. So whenever timer, it's 11:44. So one more thing. So this guy, magic potion, okay, it could be prefab, and then using make them fall, you can actually have, okay, like make them fall, another timer here. Okay? Or if your score is greater than something, okay, you can instantiate this portion, okay, once or twice, okay, or something like that. Okay? And okay, so due for this game is, I put it like next Wednesday, and I realize we're not going to meet on Tuesday next week because Monday next week is Columbus Day. We do not have class. So Tuesday, all Monday classes will meet. So we're not going to have class. Okay? I know some of you guys are really sad, I know. So we are going to actually work on this game one more time next Thursday. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to go over this like a level thing and portion thing again. And then I'm going to cover how to export this game to your Android device. Okay? And then due date will be Sunday midnight. Okay? Good? All right. And I mean, yeah, I'm having fun in this class, and I hope you like this class too. And I will see you guys next week. And if you have any question, email me. Okay? Email me, and we can talk about that. All right. I'll see you guys next week. Oh, I mean next Thursday. Yeah.